We already took a look at the Nissan Almera VL, the former top-of-the-line trim of the Nissan Almera, but for some reason, Nissan Philippines has decided to kill off that variant right there. And they've upgraded this Nissan Almera VE right here to be their top-of-the-line variant. So today, let's take a look if this new top-of-the-line variant is any good. Okay, I kinda lied. There is still a higher variant compared to the Nissan Almera VE, but that is just the Nissan Almera VE N Sport, and even Nissan themselves say that they're practically the same car just with a different body kit on it. Anyway, looking at the VE, the standard VE from the exterior, and it looks pretty good for a subcompact sedan. This just looks incredibly smart. There's so much sharp lines even on the hood, even on the sides of the car. And here up front, despite not having the N Sport kit, it still looks pretty sporty and modern. Yes, you don't have that special bumper, but this standard bumper right here looks already pretty good. You also still do get LED headlights with LED DRLs, and while the brochure says that the newer VEs will get fog lights, this Tesla right here still doesn't have it. You also get the same dark chrome Nissan V-Motion grille, also with the new Nissan emblem too, because this is where your sensors for your intelligent mobility suite is located. Over at the side, while I do appreciate all the sharp lines and even the semi-floating roof effect of the Nissan Almera, what I don't like about it though is, unlike the VL trim or the VE N Sport, you don't get 16-inch rims. You get these 15-inch rim setup right here, which honestly doesn't look the most premium. Nonetheless, it's about okay for a car of its class and a car of its price. The other only major change right here, aside from the rims, are these wing mirrors right here, because the VL and the VE N Sport does get silver painted wing mirrors, but this VE only gets body colored wing mirrors. However, since this car is silver, it is also silver, and so you don't really see much of a difference. There's also a camera under there for your 360-degree view camera, as well as turn signal repeaters, and you also get smart keyless entry for this one. But what I love the most really about the Nissan Almera is, despite being a subcompact sedan and being pretty small, it still doesn't suffer from the typical bloating effect that most subcompact sedans get. This just looks very refined and very proportionate. And now here towards the back, I love how this quarter panel right here has this somewhat of a curve to it, somewhat of a tapered effect. It looks very much like an EV. It's very futuristic looking. And I also like, despite this car not being the N Sport variant, you still do get smoked LED tail lamps, which gives it a sporty touch. For the trunk, not much right here, only an Almera badge as well as a turbo badge, and down below you do get a faux carbon diffuser. Now once you do open up this trunk, you're going to see that the space is pretty good and it is pretty square. Unfortunately, unlike the VL variant, you can't fold down those rear seats, not 60-40, not even 50-50 or 100%. It's just stuck right there. So if you want to carry longer items, maybe the Nissan Almera is not the car for you. Down below this false floor though is a space saver spare tire. Now for power. Powering the Nissan Almera VE is the same 1-liter turbocharged inline-3 gasoline engine, making 100 horsepower and 152 Newton-meters of torque, paired to a CVT transmission. And while the power is not groundbreaking, industry-leading, nor class-leading, fuel economy-wise, it does pretty amazingly. You can do 11.6 kilometers per liter inside the city and about 25.8 kilometers per liter on the highway. Now inside the Nissan Almera, we check the door, and it sounds about all right. Inside here, premium materials could be a little bit limited, but what car isn't in this price range? So over here at the center part of the dashboard, you have soft touch materials with stitching, and it is also in this ivory color. Looks really nice, but aside from that, that is pretty much it. Everything else is just hard touch plastic, but they do feel very durable. The steering wheel also, it doesn't get leather wrappings, but this urethane also feels very durable and also kind of leather-like. So this feels more like leatherette, and it feels pretty good. And you can also tilt and telescope this steering column right here. The buttons on it are a little bit limited, and there is a big blank spot right here, and you don't even get cruise control, which is a bummer. Your instrument cluster is also partly digital, so it's only a 7-inch screen right there, and towards the right is just a conventional speedometer. But this setup right here is incredibly easy to read and easy to use. Towards the center is an 8-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, both of which are wired though. And you also do get a 360-degree view camera, also known as the intelligent around view monitor with moving object detection. Of course, there's also a reverse camera that does come with that. Single zone climate control. You have a USB-A port, a 3.5mm jack, which is kind of weird. Does anyone still use that? Anyway, you still do have that, as well as a 12-volt outlet. The shifter is pretty nice. It feels very robust, and there is even a hidden sport mode button right there. You also have your push start just above your shifter. Conventional handbrake, 2 cup holders, and that is pretty much it for this front interior. Oh, right, the seats. These Nissan Zero Gravity seats, I absolutely love them. The bolsterings are just about right, and you can jack these seats up pretty high or put them down pretty low. Unfortunately, they only come with manual adjustments, and this car also does get only 2 airbags. As for the suite of Nissan intelligent mobility features, you do get that intelligent around view monitor, an intelligent forward collision warning, as well as an intelligent autonomous emergency braking plus hill start assist. Now here at the back, we check the door as well, and that sounds pretty okay. It's actually a little bit better than the front. Now back here, there's really not that much toys, so you only get like 2 of these USB-A ports right here, and you also get a cup holder, and then over at the side you have a relatively big jug holder, but you don't even have a center armrest right here, and you only get a map pocket on the passenger side. Seriously, I really hate it when manufacturers do this. The materials on the side too, they are all just plastic, just like the front, but yes, they also do feel durable. But what I love about the Almera is that the back seats are extremely comfortable. A lot of subcompact sedans, there is a lot of space, but the seats themselves, they don't really provide that much in terms of like bolsterings, in terms of thigh support, or even the back padding. But this one, it just feels incredibly comfortable. This one, it may be a subcompact sedan, but it really feels a little bit closer to a compact or a mid-size sedan in terms of the seat comfort right here. However, if you do want to seat 3 people right here, it feels a little bit narrow, but yes, it can be done in a jiffy because the center tunnel isn't that wide, nor is it particularly tall. So now we drive the Nissan Almera VE, the non-N Sport variant, and driving this, honestly, it's still one of my favorite cars to drive in its class, because usually a subcompact sedan would feel a little bit harsh because of its short wheelbase, but this car right here, it's really on the comfort-oriented side of things. I mean, I could easily compare the ride quality of the Almera to something like the previous generation Camry, and that's something I also felt when I first drove the VL variant. Anyway, this car, driving this inside the city, it's just incredibly comfortable. It's so easy to maneuver. The steering is incredibly light, and the turning radius isn't that big. So even if you're on the tighter streets of Manila, you're not going to have any issues driving this car. Visibility for this one is also pretty good because you do have these quarter panels on the side, and you still do get your 360-degree view camera, despite this not being originally the top-of-the-line variant. However, I do find this A-pillar to be a little bit thick, so there are times where you do have to kind of just turn your head over onto the side to see out of it. The power in the Almera is surprisingly good. 100 horsepower, 1-liter engine. I know it doesn't sound like much, but it really does give you a sense of speed when you do drive this, a sense of peppiness when you drive this. It just feels incredibly light. This car doesn't feel cumbersome in any way. Also, despite having a small displacement 1-liter engine, there isn't too much turbo lag, which is very surprising, and that's something that I wish a lot of cars, a lot of manufacturers would do with their small displacement engine vehicles as well. As for handling, the Nissan Almera, it's not class leading. We still do have to give that name to the Mazda 2 or the Honda City, but for such a comfort-oriented vehicle such as this one, it handles pretty well actually. And this is also one of those few subcompact sedans, at least in this class, that really barely wants to understeer, and it really also gives you a sense of confidence when you push this car over corners. Where the Almera could let you down a little bit though is on the highway, because first of all, you don't get adaptive cruise control nor regular cruise control, and secondly, just like a lot of Nissan cars, including the Kicks, which is also one of my favorite cars, there seems to be a little bit more road noise, a little bit more wind noise that does enter into the cabin when you are driving even upwards of just 80 kilometers per hour. Oddly though, I was able to ride in the back seat of this car right here a while back, and While the front seats feel really comfortable, the back seats seem to be a little bit too firm and it can be a little bit bouncy. But if you're not too particular with that, or if this car is something that you would daily drive by yourself or with just one passenger beside you, then you're not going to have any qualms with the Nissan Almera. When compared to the Nissan Almera VL, the Nissan Almera VE isn't exactly the most well-equipped. You don't get leather seats, and heck, you only get 2 airbags instead of 6. But if you look at this car right here from a standalone point of view, and at 999 million pesos of pricing, honestly, this car right here isn't too bad. I wouldn't say that it feels the most top-of-the-line car out there, but as it is, there's really not much things to complain about this car. It's comfortable, there's enough power, and it is also incredibly fuel efficient.